I was drinking 5 to 6 cups of coffee
Five
per
to
day.
6 cups of coffee per day.
If I didn't have a cup of coffee, I would have a headache. Caffeine's a drug, so I was addicted to it.
And you've completely stepped out of it.
I can't be addicted to something so much where I just need to have it constantly. What's in my daily routine causing blood pressure or maybe other issues? I didn't want to ignore any signs that were early indicators of any health issues.
And we sink into the suck so much that we're not able to step out of the suck.
If you're going to fail often, but learn from those mistakes.
Hello there, brave friends. Welcome to another episode of The Brave Table. I'm your host, Dr. Neeta, and this is your destination, your oasis to be all things just a little bit more brave in your actions, in your relationship, and in your life. Now, I have a burning question for you. What is your relationship to caffeine? What is your relationship to coffee or tea? Now, have you ever thought of breaking up with caffeine or maybe even braving an alternative coffee or tea, or perhaps maybe having a new ritual? Well, my guest today has done just that. Now, he is not only somebody that I am so proud of, he is somebody that is in my inner circle. He is somebody that I've spoken about at length. He is none other than my dear younger brother, Vinay Bhushan, and he is the founder of Loom Superfoods. Now, he used to be an avid coffee drinker, often consuming between 4 to 6 cups of coffee a day. And it wasn't until he had a health scare and really noticing the highs and lows of what caffeine actually does to his body that it was taking a toll not only on his energy levels, but his overall well-being. And it wasn't until a routine checkup where he realized there were things that were completely out of his control and that were attributing to his caffeine intake that he decided to take matters into his own hands and find something that he truly loves. Now, his background is definitely not in the coffee making industry or the alternative coffee making industry. He went to college and grad school at the University of Illinois at Champaign, as well at New York University, and completely pivoted from real estate development into following his own dharma. And in this episode today, you will not only get a taste of what it's like to completely pivot and follow your own intuition and follow your own dreams based on a health diagnosis, and take matters into your own hands by creating something from absolutely nothing. You will hear his entire journey on how he has made Loom Superfoods, the superfood beverage drink, where it is a coffee alternative made out of Mayan nut, along with other incredible superfoods that support your nervous system, that support your health, that support your anxiety, along with ashwagandha and other incredible superfoods that really help your energy naturally. You'll also understand the amazing and complex dynamic between two siblings in this episode. So if you have a sibling, you'll definitely relate, as well as what it takes to define naysayers when you are going against the grain, when you are going against the matrix, when you are going after something that completely doesn't exist yet. So without further ado, and it is my complete honor and pleasure to introduce you to my brother and founder of Loom Superfoods, Vinay Bhushan. All right. Hey, Vin. So with every episode, we start with a card. So Go ahead and read that.
It's an affirmation. I am brave enough to suck at new things. I'm a forever student, learning, growing, stretching, and expanding. I'm not who I was yesterday, and I will be a better version of myself tomorrow.
I want to kind of talk about, because you were saying that you picked up some of these bad habits when you were kind of stagnating, whether it was in one city or another city. What were some of those bad habits?
New York, I felt like a college student all over again. I mean, the culture.
And how many cups of coffee were you drinking?
I was drinking, well, to be productive, I was drinking 5 to 6 cups of coffee per day.
5 to 6 cups of coffee per day?
I mean, the way I measure that is I had a pour over. I'd have a big jug, big jug of hot water. I'd have a pour over, have at least 1.5 to 2 cups in the morning. I'd get to work. They'd every work had a coffee machine, a Keurig. I'd have at least one there.
You were doing chai?
What? No chai. I was and there was I got to a point in my life where I was drinking a couple cold brews a day, which is even more caffeine.
Okay, so the National Coffee Data Trends report 73% of Americans are drinking coffee, with the average American drinking, get this, just over 3 cups of coffee a day. So this is wild. Because, obviously Brave Table fam on the show, we're braving our health in all of the ways. And obviously coming from our background of losing our parents so young, what has your coffee journey been like? Because today we are drinking something different, and we'll get into that in a second. But tell us about how that resonates to your coffee drinking journey and the bad habits that you had in New York.
Caffeine's a drug, so I was addicted to it. If I didn't have a cup of coffee, I would have a headache.
Could you function without it? Could you go to work without it?
Probably, maybe not. I would have a burning headache. I need it for because I have withdrawal symptoms, and I would get a headache if I didn't.
Like migraine symptoms, where you
not migraine, but it was like bad. Where I'm like, okay, I have this foggy brain. I'd have a cup of coffee. I'd feel better. Post lunch, I would have, okay, now it's starting to crash. Okay, I need another one. I need that kick, that coffee, another cup. And I'm like, okay. Then I got addicted to the taste, because I love the taste of coffee.
When did you realize caffeine was bad for you, or is caffeine bad for you? First of all, let's just answer that.
I don't think it's necessarily bad. It has negative side effects that affected me that I didn't really know.
What would you notice about your health?
I would, especially if I drank a lot and I didn't notice this before, it is very acidic, and it would disrupt my gut health. It would impact
so were you having
my sleep.
Bathroom issues?
Oh yeah, it's a diuretic. So I would be going to the bathroom like every hour, it seemed like. Affected my sleep schedule. I would have that last cup of coffee, and I knew if I had a cup of coffee late in the afternoon, I'm not going to sleep until midnight, 1 a.m. Easily, midnight, 1 a.m. And I would still wake up at 6:30, 7 o'clock. And when I was in New York, I did the reverse commute. I worked out in Long Island, and it took me an hour to get there, so I would have to wake up 6:30 just to get get ready, get to work on time. And I was I had a very packed schedule. I was training for the triathlon at the time, so I really needed to stay focused, stay alert. And I wasn't coming back. I would come back, work out for 2 hours, come back at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, have dinner that late, and then my sleep schedule was impacted that way. So when my sleep schedule was affected, my quality of sleep was affected. So I wasn't going to sleep. I was going to sleep at 12, 1 a.m., still waking up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, groggy, starting that same routine again. So I would get immediately, if I went immediately, once I woke up from my sleep, and when I woke up in the morning, I would, brush my teeth. But before I did anything else, I'd brew a cup of coffee, and that was my morning ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I would have.
And what were some of because you would say you had heart palpitations at one point when you were.
I was drinking. That's when I was drinking a lot.
So what were some of those symptoms of so much caffeine?
Just
the heart palpitations,
jitteriness. I went through. I don't know if it was directly related. It's definitely a cause, but I had high blood pressure.
High blood pressure and
just
anxiety was also there.
Anxiety, the jitteriness, nervousness, and just constantly drinking. Constantly having that much caffeine.
Because I feel like even for me, and I'm a chai person, but I have to have my chai in the mornings, and I feel like because we grew up with that was a ritual with, Pa, and obviously coffee was a ritual with Mom, her being from the Philippines. But I feel like I never got really into coffee, and just even one cup of coffee. So I can't imagine you doing 5 to 6. Like that's wild for me. But even with one, like I start to get so fidgety and jittery, and I have that like restless leg syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
So then the leg is just going to keep wobbling and keep moving, and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, this is it's intense. And then I would feel like I couldn't be so productive because I'm bouncing off the walls, and I feel like I would get even cold and clammy. And so I don't know how. Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, that's just at the time I thought that's what. To be productive, I needed to have that feeling. I needed to have that nervous energy. I needed to otherwise I'm like, I have a deadline. I have to finish my work. I have to go get on this train.
So that was like normal for you?
That was normal.
Comforting.
I mean, I didn't know anything else.
You didn't know any better.
My heart would be racing but I was like, okay, that means caffeine's kicking in. I'm good to go for at least, a couple hours, and then I'll get my work done, go home, go on the train, go work out, and then eat at night and start the day again.
So when I was researching this, a venti Starbucks pike roast has 400 milligrams of caffeine. That's almost, because of the average, or if 1 cup of coffee has about 95 milligrams of caffeine, this has almost as much as 4 cups of coffee in 1 cup.
Not to mention the sugar. Sometimes they put cream and the whipped cream in there, that you're adding a ton of sugar, a ton of ingredients. That's just the caffeine aspect. If they have like one of those iced drinks, I used to drink iced caramel macchiato, or even a hot caramel macchiato.
And your body is just so dysregulated because of that, and it never has the ability to heal. So what made you decide to brave this new frontier when you had such a powerful career in real estate development and in a huge firm? You pivoted to creating this alternative coffee company.
Yeah, well, I have to take it back about, I want to say about 5-6 years now. Yeah, I was in my early 30s. And I went in for a routine health checkup. I'm like, I had no issues at that time, but I'm like, I'm 30 now. I want to take care of my health for the long term. Just have some longevity and just like figure out if there's anything wrong with me. And I went in. It was very casual. I was like, hey, can you? I had to ask I think it was a nurse practitioner. I was like, hey, can you take blood, and can you do all this? She kind of went in. There was like a Seinfeld episode, and they just, was like, did a physical and was like, oh, you're good. And I was like, wait, what about my blood and this and that? But she took my blood pressure, and she was like, you're high for your age, but don't worry. If this ever persists and if it continues to get into like the stage 1 or stage 2 hypertension, we'll just give you statin drugs and they were
just going to put you on a statin
or just blood pressure medication. And I was like, well, isn't there ways to like reverse that? Isn't there ways like to naturally so I started doing my own research, but I was in Boston at the time. She said it was not that bad. Don't worry about it. You're still young. And I was like, okay,
When did you realize that it was a problem?
When I realized was I did over here at Alive and Well, the wellness center, we did IV drip therapy. And in order to administer the IV therapy, they had to take my blood pressure, and they were like, well, your blood pressure is pretty high. And I remember the reading, it was 145 over 85, which is, it's pretty high. It's not, I'm not going to have a heart attack from it, but it's like pretty high. I'm like, why is that happening? So, eventually I got it down to a respectable level where she did feel comfortable administering the IV.
So the high blood pressure
it persisted. Yeah. There was a second time I had a reading for high blood pressure, and I'm like, if I don't stop this, I'm like, I don't know what's causing it. I don't know if it's genetics, but I don't know if it's something internally, like, let me fix this. I don't want to be in my 40s and 50s and it's irreversible or does irreversible damage.
How did Loom come about?
I wanted to cut back on the coffee. I was like, okay, this is not good. I can't be addicted to something so much where I just need to have it constantly. So I really wanted to cut back on it. I realized I was like, okay, you know what? This is not good. Internally for me, it was very acidic, but I was pushing through that. I still, I loved coffee at the time. And let me find something that's similar that can mimic the taste, the feel, just when you have that first fresh cup of coffee, you feel the ambience, you feel like the aroma, and just like it's really a routine for me. So I really wanted to replicate that.
And it's a ritual.
Yeah, it's a ritual for me, at least.
Because the short-term effects of coffee, as I have it here, the caffeine is headache, insomnia, stomach disorders, gut disorders, anxiety attacks, increased blood pressure. These are just the short-term effects. Brave Table fam, the long-term effects is increased risk of cardiovascular disease because you're putting so much pressure on your blood pressure, as well as miscarriage, as well as increased risk of urinary incontinence and osteoporosis. Obviously having the headaches is probably not the best thing. So you're going through the process of really trying to find your own blend of really taking power back into your hands. I mean, obviously we grew up losing both of our parents and our brother to medical diseases. So I can only imagine you wanted to take back your own and reclaim your power with your health. So what did you find in this phase?
I didn't want to ignore any signs that were early indicators of any health issues. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to do my research on it, cut back on things that I'm like, I found out what's in my daily routine causing, blood pressure or maybe other issues. So I wanted to work out, wanted to eat proper nutrition, a proper diet. So I came across a few alternative coffees. I was, dissatisfied with the taste. I liked the feeling, but I was like, oh, this is.
So it wasn't cutting it for you.
Yeah, it wasn't cutting for me. I wanted something that tasted like coffee has that distinct taste. I wasn't trying to replicate it exactly. Otherwise, I can just have,
And
otherwise
was it
I'll
missing?
go back to
Were those coffee alternatives missing a few things, or did it have everything that you wanted?
I came across this thing called the Mayan nut. So I was like, okay, I never heard of it. I think you might have. I think when you went to Costa Rica, you got a sample that many years ago. I didn't realize what it was. You just said it was like a caffeine-free. It's like a ground powder, and you.
What's so special about the Mayan nut, and why are people raving about it?
Yeah,
and it's like kind of this ancient blue zone.
It's an ancient.
Superfood?
It's an ancient. I don't think it's a seed. I believe it's a drupe, but it's this ancient, nutritious staple of ancient indigenous cultures. From like the Mayan cultures have it. It's known. They have different names like bread nut, capomo. It's known mostly as Mayan nut in Costa Rica, where it is cultivated in the blue zones, and they mix this up in food. They mix this as a coffee. They mix it as cookies or brownies or whatever. But it's a very nutritious diet, and it's listed as you call it a superfood because it's highly, highly nutritious, and it helps a lot of poor and indigenous tribes out in Central and South America.
Yeah, and tell us about the benefits of Mayan nut.
Like I said, it's very nutrient dense. It's got magnesium, it's got calcium, iron, I believe phosphorus, but it's got a lot of benefits for you.
Well, and I love that it's 100% free of gluten and dairy, pesticides, nuts, and common allergens. So it's great for everybody to consume. And it's high in potassium and fiber, calcium, iron, antioxidants. I'm on the blue zones.
It's got a lot of antioxidants.
Tell me how this, as we drink our Loom, and tell us a little bit about Loom. What is Loom Superfoods?
It's my drink that I created. I wanted to create an alternative to coffee, something that tasted similar, but I wanted to have something that has prebiotics, so low acidity, good gut, so good for digestion, good for gut health, and something that gives you natural energy without giving you those crashes, that jitteriness, that anxious feeling that coffee gives you.
So there's no caffeine in here.
There's no caffeine.
Wow, all natural.
Yeah, all natural.
Because it tastes like coffee.
It tastes very similar to coffee. Not exactly like coffee. I would say it's kind of a mix between a very herbal tea and coffee, but not quite a tea and not really quite like a coffee.
I would say this is better than a mud water because it has the notes of the cinnamon and the mocha, which is what Mayan nut is known for. It's got a little
chocolatey notes, some caramel notes, and just a lot of herbal notes. And it's packed with highly concentrated adaptogens like ashwagandha, eleuthero, astragalus. It also has 9 grams of pea protein in there. So I really wanted. I was during my health transformation. I was trying to look for foods and drinks that have plenty of protein to add to my diet.
So this has 9 grams of protein
per serving,
and it has an astragalus is known for longevity and to elongate your life and your telomeres.
Yes, and ashwagandha is good for brain function. It's good. It's like a stress reliever. It's got that calming effect. Eleuthero gives you that natural energy. Having this much of protein gives you that sustained energy throughout the day. So you do feel full throughout the day, and you don't have those crashes. You don't get that anxiousness. You just have you drink in the morning, and it's a very steady feel of energy.
And it has dandelion root as well.
Dandelion root.
So it's great for detoxification and liver detox.
It's good for good heart health. I believe those are all good prebiotics, good for gut health, just good for digestion.
And it's so great. So Loom supports our microbiome and even our longevity. What would somebody, if they're thinking about this and they're listening to this or watching this and, they're listening and they're saying, okay, I am having the 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day. I am that 73% of Americans that are doing this. Why would they make the switch to something like Loom? How would Loom satisfy their cravings for coffee?
Yeah, well, for me, the most important thing was, does it have the taste? Does it have? I can drink teas. I can drink a lot of other things. I drink straight cacao in the morning, but does it give me that feel in the morning that sets me on the right path for the day? And I'm like, I just need something energizing, something that's part of my routine. This gives you that. It gives you all the energy you want throughout the day. It's healthy for you. It's packed with nutrients. It's packed with adaptogens. It's packed with just a bunch of superfoods. It's good. It's almost like a meal, because if I drink it in the morning, and then I'm like, okay, I can actually work out and not feel. Sometimes I feel if I go straight into my work, I'm like, I need something. I need some food, some fuel to go through my rigorous workout. But if I drink this in the morning, I'm good to go.
Well, and I love the fact that you have also a travel packet, and you have a 30 packet, and you have this one that I'm holding in my hands.
Yeah, that's a powder. That's a larger powder form.
And all you have to do is you need 2 teaspoons of Loom powder or the individual packets.
Yes.
And I love that one for travel, because that's been helpful, especially when I don't have my chai with me. And the taste has been great. It even has turmeric. So
a little bit of turmeric in there.
So it's helpful for kind of like inflammation, and you have a full superfood blend. Now, congrats on this journey. I know that there's probably obviously been some ups and downs. What advice would you give to somebody who has a dream or idea of wanting to solve a problem for a community, kind of like you solving this problem for yourself, especially because it's been inspired by your own health journey and, your own losses? What advice do you have for someone who has a dream or idea that doesn't really exist yet?
I would say get the help you need from either a mentor or someone who's an expert in that field, but go out and research it, see if it's viable, see if do your market research on it, see if what you were trying to create is accomplishable. And once you have all that information, just go find the right people, just find the right mentors and find the right the experts in that field. Because listen, I came from real estate. This was a completely different pivot for me. I was just very passionate about this. I was passionate about my health. I was passionate about really changing my health.
What's been the most challenging part of this journey?
Really the unknown, just getting, I had no idea what I didn't know. The longer I was in it, I figured, okay, maybe I can do something different here. Maybe I can, but it's a learning process, and that's the beauty of it. That's really, you don't know what you don't know, because I think I was trained, everyone who's grown up in the American educational system, you're taught to go to school, get good grades, get a job, move up the corporate ladder, and just kind of go throughout life. But there's no set stone of how to do it.
Yeah, the traditional or conventional matrix, as I like to call it. And you've completely stepped out of it.
Yeah,
how exciting.
Be comfortable being uncomfortable. If you have that niche, or if you have that itch to go out and do something, I would say just go out and do it. If you're going to fail often, but learn from those mistakes. I've learned a lot on this journey about who I am, what I can accomplish, it's amazing that I was able to create this product in a year and a half. Yeah, from nothing.
I mean, you've got thousands of people that are on auto repeat order for this. So this is amazing. So for all of the children of immigrants, did you get any pushback in pursuing your dream, and how did you handle the naysayers? Because I can only imagine with our audience, coming from, being children of immigrants, this idea to push forth a conventional rat race, climbing up the corporate ladder, and all of those things are very enticing. And then something happens. What I like to say is our dharma kind of shows up, whether in the form of a breakup, a heartbreak, a loss, a diagnosis, a mental health condition, a health condition, and your dharma knocked at your door and you answered the call. For most people who get pushback, how did you handle the naysayers, and what advice do you have for anybody struggling with the naysayers right now?
For everyone, it's different. For me, if I have an idea, I can't listen to the clutter and the noise, because I'll get too much in my head and overthink things. Sometimes it's good. Most times it's bad, because it'll keep you from actually pursuing what you want to do. And there were times where I was like, okay, if I had that voice in my head, like, okay, what are you doing? Why don't you stay in your corporate job? Just move up the ladder and just do this, do that. I probably would have stayed there. I probably wouldn't have created this. I would have gotten too much in my head. I would say, you gotta push through. If you have an idea, if you have the motivation, the passion, and the curiosity to really push, see if you can actually push yourself to the next level, you really have to ignore you're going to have to ignore the naysayers. It's easier said than done, because a lot of people come from families where they have overbearing parents, or they have, you're always constantly compared to your family, friends. Look at what this person's doing. He just, became manager or partner at this firm, and why you're giving all that up to start your own company. That you're going to have to ignore that, because you're going to have to be comfortable rolling up your sleeves and getting dirty, because if you're in that cycle, you're not, I really don't feel like you're challenging yourself internally, because you're giving into society's pressures, because you're afraid that if you fail, people are going to think less of you, or they're going
to like, what will other people say?
Oh yeah. I feel like a lot of people in our community don't pursue their passions because of the stigma of like, okay, what will happen if it doesn't work out, and then you have to go to this party and that party, and it's like
you have to show face.
You have to see all these people in there, and they're lawyers or doctors or engineers, and they're successful in their careers, and you have to
they're in the matrix.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that that's the biggest thing I think for you, and how and why we keep doing shows like this is because, this is the Brave Table. And I think to have these brave conversations to chart different paths. And I mean, you've created something that is beyond tasty. And I'm not even a coffee drinker, and you know this. But the fact that I'm like, all right, I can't have my chai on the road, and we travel a lot. And it's so great. I feel like mamas, on the go, you have instant protein, you just add water. Literally, it's a powdered drink and you just add water, and your favorite, beverage or milk or whatever of choice. It's already a little bit sweetened, which is what I love.
A little bit.
So I have a spill the chai section, even though we're drinking Loom today. And I know you have a special gift for our audience. It's code BRAVE.
Yep.
And you're giving us 15% off?
Yes.
15% off, code BRAVE, BRAVE at checkout.
I believe it's capital B, BRAVE.
Okay, we'll put it in the show notes. But Brave for your first order. It's Loom Superfoods. Loom Superfoods .com.
LUUM superfoods.com.
Amazing. Okay, we are going to get into our final hot take round, Spill the Chai. So your favorite daily ritual?
There's two things. I've only started doing this recently, which is taking morning walks, morning and sometimes evening walks, but morning walks. And I wake up, and the difference since I have that I had from giving up caffeine or giving up coffee is I'm able to go to sleep at get tired by like 10:30 ish. But I can wake up without an alarm at 6:30 on the dot. 6:30 before 7. I'll probably get up at a little bit before 7. And
have you noticed the biggest difference there with your health?
I think the quality of sleep, because if I'm going to sleep later and if I'm loaded with caffeine, my mind's still racing. You're not getting that quality of sleep, and even if you fall asleep, you're not getting that quality. You're not getting enough of that quality sleep throughout the night. And then that's why people wake up, they can get 7-8 hours of sleep, but they're still groggy. Mm-hmm. I've noticed that. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but I'm like, hey, I went to sleep at,
and you do that
11,
without
12
caffeine.
I have I don't set an alarm anymore. I can still wake up because my body, once I get that full 7.5, 8 hours of sleep, my body's automatically wakes up and says, hey, you're good to go at 6:30. So I wake up, before I try to get out before the sun rises. Here it's starting to rise at 7:30, so I have a little bit of a leeway there, but I get out and walk for about half an hour, 40 minutes, get my steps in, and just watch the sunrise.
It's amazing.
That's being able to do this and getting away from the Northeast and the Midwest and just not having a gloomy morning has made a world of difference.
It's amazing.
And and the other thing was I've started incorporating meditation. I do at least a 10-minute, but sometimes a 20-minute meditation in the morning.
Questions that we ask every single guest. What does it mean to be brave?
That means to fight any fear you have within yourself and really push yourself to a level you haven't seen before.
Amazing.
Yeah, honestly, humans don't know what they're capable of until they actually try something.
One word that describes this season.
Joy.
Amazing, as you wear your Choose Joy shirt. So proud of you, bro. I think that Mom, Pa, and DJ they're your angels. They've always been your guides, and I think they are also with you and part of your journey, and it's such a testament. So
thanks for having me on.
This was amazing. So where can everyone get Loom for their first 15% off discount?
So now we're fully just online.
Great. We'll put it in the show notes. And where can we connect with you if anybody is curious?
Yeah, Loom Superfoods. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Amazing. Until next time on the Brave Table. Wow. Welcome back to the other side. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was amazing. It was like a long time coming. kind of bringing on my baby brother to the Brave Table. Let's support him and shower him with some love. Honestly, I'm so impressed with the fact that this has so many jam-packed nutrients with eleuthero and astragalus and all of the superfoods and the herbs that help with longevity, help with gut health, help with detoxification. I know I've been on a major detoxification this year in terms of just what I'm putting into my body, heavy metals. We travel a lot, and this has been such a reprieve for my nervous system as well because there has been no caffeine. So it's so great. And it also has pea protein as well. So for the you vegans out there, he's definitely done this one for you. So go ahead to Loom Superfoods and use Brave at checkout. If you love this episode, we've linked 3 additional episodes in the show notes that will support with your living your dreams and living your dharma and what that can look like, especially if you're charting out new waters, especially if you're charting out in new, in your next iteration of what that looks like, your passion projects, and how you can actually create something from nothing, just like Vinay did, and how pivots can be sometimes your most incredible endeavor. So go ahead and tune into those if you wanted to get your learn on. And also, as always, if you love this episode, if you think somebody else can be more brave in their own pursuits, go ahead and share this with a friend, a family member, a bestie, a colleague, somebody in the parent group, in the PTA group. Go ahead and share this with them. And if you are watching this on YouTube, and if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit the like button, the thumbs up button, wherever you are listening to this on iTunes and on Spotify. It helps us grow the show more than you know. And if you love this episode, if you loved Vinay and I just kind of going back and forth with each other, and go ahead and share your favorite takes on Instagram with us. Go ahead and tag us at The Brave Table or myself at Neeta Bhushan. And as always, don't forget to be just a little bit more brave. I will see you next time.